Here we're going to look at 1.2.4, graph a combination of transformations. So they're going to give us an original graph, and then they're going to ask us to make some transformations to it and show the new graph. So this graph represents y equals f of x. We don't need to worry about what the actual equation itself is, just this is our function. Using y equals f of x, how can you graph a combination of transformations? So let's start with A. We're told to graph y equals negative. So we have negative f of x plus 2. Right. So there's two things going on here. This plus 2 tells me that my graph is shifting left 2 places, or 2 units. Remember, if it's inside those parentheses, it's the opposite of what it appears to be. So although it is plus 2, that means it's going to shift left 2 places. And then this negative out here, that tells me that there's a reflection over the x-axis. So my entire graph is changing. So we want to reflect that over the x-axis. So which one should we do first? Which one should we do second? Best bet is kind of what's happening to the graph first. What are you doing to x first? Now, I'm going to shift this graph 2 places to the left. So let's start with that one. So I'm going to take each of these points here, and I'm going to move it 2 places to the left. Now this might not be perfect. We're going to try and make it as accurate as we can. So all of those places were moved 2 places to the left. We don't need that one. So if I redraw this graph, I have something that looks like that. Now I want to reflect that same graph over the x-axis. So each of these points is going to be reflected across the x-axis, the horizontal one. So this piece here, right, this one, we're going to drop down. So it's 2 away from the axis, so that's going to go right there. This one is we have 4 away, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. It's going to be 5. And this one was up at 7, so it's going to be there. So now my graph here, I'm going to connect the dots, and it should be a mirrored version of that red one. All right, so we started with the blue, we shifted it left 2 places, and then we've reflected it over the x-axis. So this final piece here, this would be my final graph. So let's take a look at problem B. We'll change up the colors here. So graph y equals 1/2. So we have 1/2 f of x plus 3. So let's look at the 1/2 first. That 1/2 is going to represent either a stretch or a compression. And if we remember, if a is greater than 1, it's a stretch. If a is between 0 and 1, it's a compression. So in this case, 1/2 is between 0 and 1, so this would be a compression by a factor of 1/2. So what does that mean? That tells me my y values are basically going to be cut in half. So the distance from the points to the x-axis will be cut in half. Now let's, what color are we going to use here? Let's just go with orange. This plus 3, this plus 3 tells me that this is going to shift up 3 places. All right, that 3 is outside of the parentheses, so that tells me it is going to shift up, so it's a vertical shift. So I'm going to start with the 1/2. It's important to look at which one we're going to do first. Since the 1/2 is times the fx, think of it as like an order of operations. So 1/2 is going to take effect first. So each of my coordinate points, let's leave those with black. So these points here, the distance they have from the x-axis is going to be cut in half. So this one goes up 2, so we're going to drop that distance down to 1 place. This one went up 4, so we're going to drop that down to 2. This one is at 3, so we'll be careful there. That's going to drop down to 1.5. So here, this one is at 5, so that'll go to 2.5. And this one was at 7, so that's going to go to 3.5. That'll be here. So if we connect these, it's going to look something like that. Now, each of those points also need to be shifted up 3 places. So I'm going to take that point and I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 places and do the same thing for each one of these. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This one, be careful, one will put in the middle. So 1, 2 should be about there. This one goes there. And this one will be there. So if we connect these dots, that represents my vertical shift up. And this would be the final result of my graph. So the purple represented the compression by a factor of 1/2. We cut all the y values in half. So just to note that, so it'll be a little more clear. This was -4, 2. So that point is going to become -4, 1. That 2 was cut in half. This point here, we had -2, 4. So that's going to be -2, 2. That 4 is going to be cut in half. And then the orange represented our vertical shift up 3 places. And that's it. Just be careful with the order that you do your shifts in. Kind of look at it, think of it as an order of operations, and you should be okay. Give the try it problems a try and see how you do.